Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Shazette. I hope you guys are doing well. I am back in Tennessee. I was home for a few weeks in DC and then came back. One of my brothers came and relieved me and a brother, and then my sister, who lives here, went to take care of some medical things, and then she went to go represent the family at a funeral up in Michigan, and just to get some kind of recuperation time on her own end. And so I am back out here. This time, my husband and son came with me. It's Holy Week, and so we get to spend Resurrection Sunday, as some of you may call it, Easter, if you celebrate, with my parents. And so hopefully we'll be able to get out and go and worship together. At any rate, we'll spend the holiday together. So I'm excited to be here. And certainly Alex is excited to be here. He wanted to come to Tennessee to spend his spring break. Kids are so amazing and so resilient in so many ways, but also our time here in Tennessee is always a reminder of just how much a solid foundation for children means. This is the only place that my son has known as constant and consistent over his life. It's the place where he was born, spent the first 2.5 years of his life kind of running between our house, which was right there when we lived here. My sister lives there now, and then my parents' house, which is right behind us or right behind you. And so the two homes share a driveway. And so he's always excited to come home. This is what he knows is home. We've moved a lot for work and for ministry since he's been alive. So this has been the place that has been the constant for him throughout his life. And so he's always so very excited to come here, even though there aren't a lot of attractions. I think it is the place that's a security spot in place for him. And so when we come home and we are continuing to do improvements and repairs on the property or on the house, in my mind, it is toward continuing to make sure that this is a place that he and generations to come can always return to as that place of security. It's not a big property, but it belongs to our family, and that means something. Especially in these times, it means something, and so it's always good to be here. But I logged on today, or I hit record today because as some of you might know, my dad is navigating dementia, and we can't any longer call it the beginning stages of dementia. And it is really a disease or a condition that you watch and you learn from every day, because there's no roadmap, there is no playbook for how things evolve or when they evolve, or how or when things change. I was just here 2 or 3 weeks ago, and even in that amount of time since the last time I was here until now, watching how much my dad has changed just in the last few weeks um, is really something. I don't want to say it's amazing, because it's not amazing in a good way. And it is heavy, although I can't say heartbreaking. It's heavy. I think the heartbreak more on my end. Hold on a second. Eli, come. Sorry, I've got one of the dogs out with me. The heartbreak more on my end is really knowing that my mom is here every day, and that each day she's watching the man that she's been married to for 60 years kind of slip away from her. And I can't even begin to imagine what that must feel like. But watching that and knowing that even as she's aging, as she's navigating her own health things, that at the same time, this must be pretty challenging for her. Eli, come. Eli. I probably won't put too much of an edit on this, so you all forgive me for yelling for the dog. But today, if you know anything or follow me on any social media, and certainly follow my mom or any of us, the explanation of our proximity, the proximity of our two houses, is important context for what I'm about to share. Alex came home from the hospital, and I don't believe that he spent even his first night in our home. I think my dad came over to get him, and he didn't bring him back until the next day, which was certainly, a welcomed um, thing for us, as we were able to sleep through the night that first night. But since then, Alex has very much been um, my dad's shadow, right? My dad, his pawpaw, as he calls him, has definitely been his best friend all of his 11, soon to be 12 years um, in life, right? So he is everything that he has learned around so many things that he's of interest in are related to many of them are related to his relationships with my dad. His love for cowboys comes from him spending hours upon hours watching black and white westerns with my parents. He can watch an old Rifleman or whatever the other ones are called, Bonanza, and some of the others, and name the people not just by their names as their characters in their shows, but their actual names, which is always quite hilarious for us. His love for hats comes from him wearing my dad's hats when he was little, and always somewhere with a hat on his head, because his papa always had a hat on his head. His love for music and interest in guitars. My dad is a guitar player, and even the things that he um, was interested in that weren't necessarily interests for my father are things that dad still invested in. So Alex is in the house right now playing with a set of trains that my dad got him to keep here. And so much of his little identity is wrapped up with his or in his understanding and his proximity, his relationship to his papa. And we would um, call sometimes at night for dad to say nighttime prayers with him. And even last night we couldn't get dad to get up out of his recliner to go get in his bed, and my mom said, well, Alex is waiting on you. And dad got right up and went and got in the bed. And so I know that there are pieces of Alex that he remembers, particularly as a baby, but the current present Alex, it was clear today, and I think to my mom a couple of days ago when she mentioned that we were coming, it was clear, it is clear that my dad doesn't recognize Alex in this moment. And I, I, I suspected that that was the case, but when he asked, my aunt was over a little while ago and Alex was talking, and he asked her, who is that? And she said, that's Alex, that's your grandson. And we kind of, let the moment blow over and pass. But then later on, sitting at the breakfast table, he was looking at Alex, and I could tell that he was trying to figure out who he was. And so, as painful as it was in the moment, I also didn't want him to be or feel lost in that moment. So I said, hey, do you know who that is? And he said, who? And I pointed to Alex, and he didn't say anything. He just kind of looked at him for a while. And I said, that's Alex. Alex said, yeah, your grandson. And so Alex kind of also let the moment brush off and continued to play and continue to, show my dad his trains. And dad, looks at him and smiles at him, as he always has with any child. But I think when we say the name Alex, or when Alex says, hey, Pawpaw, he still looks up. So he still knows his name. He's still responding to his name, but he doesn't necessarily recognize present day Alex. And and when we say who it is, he's not putting together that present day Alex is his baby Alex. And when I was talking to my mom, she said that she showed him pictures, and he said that doesn't look like my baby. So he is remembering Alex in his infant baby toddler years, is my assumption, but not putting those two things together now. My mom said that for my older nephew, who is 18 or 19 now, that the other day he came in the house and my dad didn't recognize who he was either. When he just recognized him a few weeks ago, because he walked in and my sister asked, who that is? And he called out his entire name. So it again is just continued seeing just how quickly, right, this disease and this condition just changes an individual. I I don't know how to name the emotion. I think I my logical mind has always known that this moment or time would come, but I don't think that there's ever a sense of readiness that comes over you um, for that moment. My driver's license was sitting on the table, and he kept asking my aunt, "Who is that?" And she kept saying, "That's your daughter. She just didn't have any hair." And so I know too that it comes and goes. The moments when he recognizes who we are. Um, and so my heart is is tender. I think it's the realization for my own self and for this season, right? Um, but also it is the tenderness of my heart for my son, who is figuring this out piece by piece for himself, I'm certain. But praying also for his ability to process and articulate in his way, and praying for the wherewithal and the wisdom and the presence and the understanding and the wisdom to be able to help him through this process, even as we help ourselves. And so, I think that dementia is and Alzheimer's and all the related sorts of things or similar things. We understand them to be conditions that, come with older age. But I'm also reading more about how this is striking people earlier and earlier. Um, and it's one of those things that I want to learn more about, but it's one of those things that I want to talk more about, particularly because I don't know if folks of color talk about it as much or talk about it as openly as perhaps we could or should, in ways that foster community, right? This is a season of life that I can't imagine that only Western American folks go through. But I think Western and American folks perhaps have a different way of dealing with it than others. I'm interested to see or to understand how other cultures might be navigating this season of life in healthy ways. I'm interested to see how or if this condition or disease, hold on one second. Eli, come. Eli, come. Might be affecting other cultures, and what is it about our culture that makes it so prevalent these days? Um, yeah, I'm just interested to learn more and to know more about it. I wanted to share today, just because as a part of this continued well life process, I think that transparency is important, particularly when I am navigating things that I think other folks navigate and navigate in silence, and things that I typically and historically have navigated in silence. But I really am trying to remind myself daily that I don't have to process through this season of life by myself. That this is a season of life when people, at least idealistically, have the ability to be more connected than we ever have been in the history of humanity, yet we're still so very far apart. Um, and so if you are navigating or you have navigated with a person in your life, an elder or otherwise, who has or is going through dementia or Alzheimer's, I'd love to be in conversation around how you are navigating this space while also caring for yourself, how you might be helping another parent who is cognitively able with no challenges whatsoever, how you might be helping them to navigate through this time with the spouse who has always been, right, the pillar of strength in their lives. I mean, even the simplest of things, Tennessee, as some of you may know or be aware, navigated through like a lot of a big storm system over the last couple of weeks, and so because of that, the front yard looks like an open field, in terms of how the grass has grown up. And on the one hand, it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. On the other hand, the yard needs to be tended to. But this is something that my dad would have normally taken care of. He would have been on top of it even before it got this bad. And so we are building and rebuilding networks of people to help us tend to the property that my dad has always cared for so meticulously. Um, and so yeah, that's where we are. I continue to marvel at this season of life. You know that you're going to get older, but I don't know that I ever thought about. I knew that I was going to get older, but I don't know that in thinking about my own getting older, I ever stopped to think about what that meant for my parents or other elders getting older, aging, transitioning. I don't think I ever paused to give thought to that. And I think sometimes, when older folks say to us, time is going to pass you by, just keep living. You're going to look up and time is gone. Time is, life is short. All of those things. I think that we are conditioned to thinking about those things in relationship only to our individual selves, not to the village or the community that has been or is around us, and what that impact might mean, or what the effects on that community might be. So, anyway, this is me starting another playlist on my channel that, yes, has to do with the well life, but also is inviting folks who are navigating the seasons of caretaking and aging family members, or even family members who aren't aging but who are navigating Alzheimer's and dementia and things related, how we can or are in community with each other as the government continues to do what the government does. I have very little confidence in the idea that federally funded resources will be available to our elders and our seniors and our folks who are otherly abled. And so looking toward ways to be in and build community in sustainable ways, in community supported ways, in ways that are not burdensome to individuals or to individual families, but that take on a sense of communal responsibility, through, the growing and cultivating of food, through the provision of counseling and support groups and support services, through figuring out how we provide respite services, or making sure that seniors and elders are safe in their environments, and figuring out how we provide relief even to their families or to their primary caretakers in moments when relief is needed. So lots of pieces, moving pieces in my brain and in my mind and in my heart, as we're navigating through today. But I just wanted to mark this day, and I'll mark it in my journal also, that today is certainly a day that I will journal. I won't say that I don't want to forget the feeling of this day, but what I will say is that I don't want to not have a record of today. For some reason, at some point, perhaps it will be important for me to know that today was a day that my daddy didn't recognize, my little boy, and very possibly didn't recognize me. It certainly marks a significant moment in this journey. So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope that you will come along for the journey if you are a person navigating similar times. Hope that you will come along for the journey, that you will share your voice, that you'll find this to be an outlet also for you, as we, even across these interwebs, figure out how to be in community, one with the other. If you'd like to do that, I hope that you will hit the like and subscribe button. I certainly hope you'll join me down in the comments. I'll try to make sure those are turned on. Yeah, I'll holler at y'all next time. Take care.